Hey guys, my name is Bando. This is Brexit Bando. I have survived my illness, despite what my body has tried to do to me. I'm here, and the militia have now got their 3rd edition rules. Now, I've seen some people getting a little upset over the 3rd edition rules. I've seen some people rather entertained by them, and I've seen some people who say that they're pretty good. I've had a quick skim through them. And my first thought was, oh, that's it, brilliant, they've ruined it, and I've lost everything. But reading a bit deeper into it, I have, obviously tempered my my rage and gone, actually, it's not as bad as it looks. So let's have a quick look, shall we? So the first thing I noticed was that we now get a mounted command squad, which is something I desperately wanted, because, for those of you who are not in the know, my militia force, my primary militia force, is mostly cavalry. And the idea of my force commander being completely sat alone with no support whatsoever was a little bit annoying. So a mounted command squad is pretty good. All of these are pretty much the same. I believe the industrial rig is new, which might just be a different name for the cargo 8 hauler, I think. I'm not entirely sure if a Gorgon could be taken before. But then we got stuff like reconnaissance troops, cavalry troops, and then we get some stuff that I really like the look of. All-terrain patrol. Well, that's an ATV, which is pretty cool, which is obviously the Gene Stealer ATV. Militia Scout Rover, which is things like the Gene Stealer car, the Achilles or Ridge Runner, or the Venator, the Taurus Venator from Necromunda. And then we get, I believe, a Malcador I don't think you could take before, and you can take Baneblades. There's some other stuff you can take with certain providences and stuff. So, I came through here, and the first thing I was worried about was that the one providence I use is not here, which is the Clan Folk Levy, which is the one that lets you take an absolute boatload of cavalry. And it's gone. And I was like, okay, well that's really annoying. But I came through, and I flicked through here, and then I came down to these bit here. And on a side note, I am having a really hard time figuring out army building in 3.0. Normally I use New Recruit for my army building, and I absolutely love it. And it makes zero sense to me in the sense for 3rd edition. I almost need like flashcards. Like I need it to be picturesque to tell me what I've got. But yeah, I came down here and saw Cavalry Wing, and realised that this could let me take 8 units of cavalry. And I was like, well, that sounds tasty. Unfortunately, the cavalry are now units of 10 maximum rather than 15 like they were before. But that's 80 of them per slot. Downside is I do have 150 of them. So, from what I can see here, it's not going to be that difficult to basically turn the army I've got into a 3rd edition army. I'll be able to give things like your force commander can take Architect pistols, Paragon blades now, and I can still stick him on a horse, which is absolutely what I want. I can now give him a command squad, which is absolutely fantastic. All armed with power weapons, which is pretty cool. I wonder if the militia lance is still as broken as it was before. Not in there. Is it going to be in melee weapons? Okay, cool. So yeah, that's not too bad. I mean, beforehand, if you actually read the rules as written, it was broken, because the militia lance was basically like, oh, this is absolutely fantastic. If you charge, you get all these extra bonuses, and then it had a one little rule that's like, this weapon cannot be modified in any way. No rules allow extra attacks from this weapon. It's like, so hang on, I can't modify the weapon with the rule of the one rule before this? So I know most people ignored it, but as written, militia lances were like, have fun, here's one attack on the charge. It was pretty boring. So that's great. The Achilles Ridge Runner and things like that being added in there. A light attack vehicle is something militia has been missing badly. And it's something I absolutely love the idea of. Will I add it to this army? No, because it doesn't fit the theme of my Iron Warriors allied militia. But it probably does other militia armies I have, such as the boatload of Talon Desert Raider type looking guys that I've just printed, which could definitely suit from having some Sentinels and fast attack trucks. So yeah, all in all, from what I can look through this, I'm not horrified. It could have been worse. It could have been better. All in all, considerably better than I was worried it was going to be. I was expecting this to be gutted. You know, I was expecting this army to be a shadow of its former self. So I don't like where it says, like, it keeps repeating this, while under-equipped and poorly trained. Militias aren't poorly equipped or they're not. They can be. The militia is supposed to be the Imperial Army. It is supposed to be anything that is not the Solar Auxilia. So this is supposed to be what is equivalent to the Imperial Guard nowadays, or the Solar Auxilia. Solar Auxilia? Astra Militarum, sorry. This is everything from a band of religious fanatics armed with sharp sticks and bad language, all the way up to the most advanced, well-drilled, well-disciplined, modern-day military, like survived old night, everyone's running around in carapace armour with hell guns, you know, entire planet worth of stormtroopers, basically. They're not all just untrained and poorly equipped, and I wish GW had not really focused on that as a theme, because it's not accurate, and I think it's a little bit disingenuous for describing this faction. I think people might get, you know, a little bit disheartened by it. Now, one complaint I do have is the transport situation. They had the opportunity here to give them access to things like the Torax and the Chimera, both of which are named in Heresy era books as being present, and it is something that is actually missing from the Force, a decent armoured transport. They could have been given access to the Oryx or the Carnodon or anything like that, but no, they are missing a lot of that sort of stuff, and it's a little disappointing. Other than that, yeah, I'm quite happy with where it is. It could have been so much worse, and I think we're going to be okay. If you've never tried Militia, I strongly recommend you give it a go, because it is one of those factions where you can really have a go at flexing your creative muscle. I'm going to do a video in the next couple of weeks, and I'm going to show off some of my militia stuff, because I really think that, you know, there's a lot of stuff in here that, if you've got a creative sort of mind, and, you know, we're all hobbyists, we're all fairly creative, but if you're one of those people that really can see outside the box, militia is absolutely for you. You'll see here with all the different providences you can take, you can, you know, radically change your army. Kinfolk Helots, for example, that's basically the squats. Ogren conscripts, it's an Ogren army. Survivors of the Dark Age, this is people with loads of technology. You know, Industrial Levy, these are guys who've still got access to huge amounts of industry. Gene crafted, people who have like genetically engineered their troops. The Imperial Provost, which is supposed to be like your I can't think of the name. The Judge Dredd type guys that have just gone into Dark Tide. You guys can say it in there. Arbites. There we go. Arbites. You know, feral warriors, debased rabble, an augmented level. This is like your tech thralls almost thing, like your tech guard. So if you've got loads of Skitarii that you want to use in Heresy, this is the sort of army that you can run it in. And in fact, most of your Mechanicum stuff from 40k can find something in here. So have a think about it, and it's a great way of adding some flavoured allies to your army. Anyway, thank you for watching, guys. As always, I appreciate you all watching. I appreciate anyone who makes comments and who sticks through this. I know it's been really quiet recently. I've just not been too well, and there's not been a lot to talk about. So, if you've got any topics you want me to cover, anything you want my opinion on, or you think I should have a look at, or if you just want, you know, want me to talk about something, just drop it in the comments. I'm more than happy to research a topic and you know, and talk about it. I know you guys like it because, you know, I don't hype things up and I'm a bit more sort of boring and down to earth, and I'm happy to talk like that. You know, let me have a look at something I've never seen before, and I'll try and figure out if I like it or not. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. Bye bye.